If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more cinematic human versus universe stories, where courage, instinct, and heart redefine what it means to be human. Now settle in, because this one starts with the smell of fear. The jungle of Kaler 9 breathed like something alive. The air shimmered with heat and static, thick with spores that glowed faintly blue in the darkness. Every breath burned. Every step crunched through the bones of the last platoon that thought this planet could be tamed. Sergeant Aaron Vale led his recon squad through the ruins of the alien outpost, boots sinking into mud that smelled of ozone and death. The Galactic Council had ordered them to recover black box data from the failed research station. But everyone on the transport knew what this really was. A retrieval mission for corpses. Motion sensors picking up movement, sir. Bearing 237, Private Kell murmured, his voice low but trembling. Aaron's eyes flicked to the HUD overlay in his visor. Thermal ghosts flickered across his display, faint, distant, fast. Nothing solid. Nothing human. He raised a hand for silence. The squad froze. In the distance, something roared, not mechanical, not any animal in their database. It was the kind of sound that made the brain want to hide behind the skull. They advanced slowly, pulse rifles raised. The glow of the jungle dimmed as if the light itself recoiled. And then they saw it, a clearing littered with what was left of a council recon team. Not killed. Taken apart. Helmets crushed inward like tin foil. Armor plates peeled open from the inside. The corpses looked arranged, displayed. Private Kell gagged. What kind of thing does this? Something that wants you to know it's watching, Aaron said. His voice stayed calm, but his mind churned. Every horror report about Kaler 9 spoke of the same pattern. No energy weapons, no survivors, no tracks. Just the scent of fear lingering like rot. Aaron knelt beside one of the bodies. The man's face was frozen in mid-scream, pupils wide, skin drained of blood. Heart failure, but the body showed no internal trauma. Just terror. He caught a faint vibration beneath the mud, rhythmic, slow. Like breathing. Eyes up, Aaron whispered. The jungle hushed. Then something massive moved between the trees, a shape darker than the shadows. It didn't walk. It flowed. A head emerged, sleek and armored in plates of obsidian flesh. Eyes like molten amber burned through the undergrowth. The Velkar. Every soldier in the galaxy had heard the name whispered in briefings. Predators that hunted by scenting emotion. They could smell fear. Private Kell fired first. The blast hit a tree, vaporizing bark. The Velkar reacted instantly, a blur of claws and motion. It struck Kell so fast that by the time Aaron blinked, the man's body was already sliding down a tree, armor torn open, eyes glassy. The others panicked. Shots filled the air. Energy bolts cut through leaves, illuminating the nightmare forms stalking through the chaos. One by one the screams cut off. Aaron didn't fire. He stood his ground, weapon lowered. The Velkar stopped, head tilting. Its nostrils flared, tasting him. Its chest rose and fell, a low growl rumbling through the clearing. Aaron's heartbeat thundered in his ears, but he controlled his breathing, steady and deliberate. He remembered his training. Apex predators react to fear. They read it, feed on it. Panic was death. The creature circled him, inches away. He could smell it, metallic, earthy, charged with something like electricity. Its claws brushed the mud near his boots. The two locked eyes. Aaron's visor reflected the creature's face back at it, a distorted mirror of survival instincts colliding. Go on, Aaron whispered. If you're gonna do it clean. The Velkar's growl deepened. Then it leaned closer, inhaling. The air around Aaron vibrated, pressure building, and then silence. It stepped back. Behind it, one of Aaron's surviving soldiers whimpered. The Velkar's head snapped toward the sound. Without looking away, Aaron raised a hand. No. The creature hesitated, muscles coiled. The air shimmered around its body, light bending. Then it turned away, vanishing into the trees like smoke dissolving in water. Aaron exhaled slowly, lowering his hand. He glanced around. Only one soldier was left, Private Wren, wide-eyed and shaking. What was that? Wren whispered. Aaron knelt and picked up Kell's cracked visor. A message, he said softly. We're not the top of the food chain out here. Static hissed in his earpiece, command calling, asking for a report. Aaron ignored it for a moment, still staring into the jungle where the creature had disappeared. The air still buzzed faintly as if the predator's presence lingered like an echo. Wren's voice shook. Why didn't it kill you? Aaron didn't answer right away. He took off his helmet, letting the humid air hit his face. Maybe, he said finally, because I wasn't afraid. But that wasn't true. He was afraid, just not the way the others had been. His fear didn't freeze him, it sharpened him. And somehow the creature had recognized that. A distant screech echoed through the forest, low and mournful. Aaron felt it vibrate in his bones. The jungle seemed to breathe again. He keyed his comms. "Command, this is Sergeant Vale. We have contact with an unidentified entity. Non-hostile, for now. Marking coordinates." "Copy that, Sergeant," Command replied. "Return for debrief." Aaron didn't move. He kept staring into the darkness where faint eyes glowed once, watching. Then they vanished. He felt something new stir in his chest. Not relief. Not dread. Something harder to name. It wasn't done with him. And for reasons he couldn't explain, he didn't want it to be. The cell was built like a fortress, steel layered over energy fields, light so white it erased shadows. And yet, to Sergeant Aaron Vale, the place felt smaller than a coffin. He could feel the weight of something alive on the other side of the glass, something that made even the armed guards refuse to breathe too loudly. Specimen 13 stood motionless in the containment zone. The Velcar was taller than any creature Aaron had ever seen, every inch of its sculpted muscle and dark armor fused to living flesh. Tubes of condensed light ran across the walls, humming faintly, reflecting in the predator's amber eyes. It didn't blink. It didn't pace. It simply watched. Dr. Halvern, the council xenobiologist in charge, shifted uneasily beside Aaron. "You're sure this is the same one from Kaler 9? Aaron nodded. "It didn't kill me then. Maybe it still won't." Halvern adjusted his glasses, refusing to meet Aaron's gaze. "Every other sentient species we've exposed it to died within seconds of proximity. Its biochemistry reacts to emotional output. It's not aggression, it's instinct. Fear triggers it. And you think I don't have any?" "I think," Halvern said carefully, "that you're the only variable we haven't tested." The guards exchanged nervous glances as Aaron stepped forward. He could almost taste the sterile tang of the airlock as it hissed open. He crossed the threshold. Inside, the silence changed. It wasn't quiet, it was listening. The Velcar turned its head slightly, nostrils flaring. Aaron took one step, then another, steady, deliberate. His pulse slowed the way it always did before combat. He felt the creature's focus lock onto him, weighing every heartbeat, every breath. "You remember me?" Aaron said quietly. The Velcar blinked once. Its pupils dilated, gold burning into orange. Then it inhaled, slow, deep, and the hum of the light seemed to bend with it. On the observation deck, Halvern's voice echoed through the intercom. "Maintain composure, Sergeant. Even elevated cortisol could." "Mute the feed," Aaron said. He didn't take his eyes off the creature. If it's going to talk, it won't do it with an audience. He raised an open hand, palm out, showing he was unarmed. The Velcar's head tilted, gaze narrowing. It took one step closer. Aaron stayed still. The creature's scent filled the air, ozone and heat, undercut by something sharp, metallic. Its claws flexed, scraping the floor. Then without warning it crouched. Its face came level with Aaron's chest. For one long, unbroken moment, it simply breathed. The sound was low, almost rhythmic. Aaron could feel each exhale against his armor, a pulse syncing with his own. Then the creature spoke. Not in words, but in vibration, a guttural resonance that trembled through his ribs. It wasn't sound meant for ears, it was something meant for nerves. He couldn't translate it, but he understood it. Recognition. Aaron's voice was barely above a whisper. "You don't trust them." The Velcar's head lifted slightly. Its nostrils flared again. It stepped back, eyes darting toward the glass where scientists watched, their fear thick enough to taste. "I get it," Aaron said. "They look at you like you're an animal. But you," he hesitated. "You made a choice back there. You could have killed me." The Velcar tilted its head. Aaron touched his chest, then pointed at it. "Aaron," he said slowly. "My name is Aaron." The creature's mandibles shifted. The sound it made was close, broken syllables crushed through a throat not meant for language. "Aran." The room went still. From the other side of the glass, someone swore. Aaron's heart kicked once hard. "Yeah," he said, almost smiling. "That's it." Halvern's voice crackled through the intercom again, sharp now. "Sergeant, step away. Do you understand what this means? It's mimicking you. It's..." The Velcar snapped its head toward the sound. The air changed, pressure rising. The scientist froze. Aaron raised a hand again, calm. "Easy. It's just noise. Ignore it." The creature's breathing slowed. The tension drained from the room like a held breath finally exhaled. Aaron studied its posture, the subtle shifts of its shoulders, the faint tremor in its chest. Beneath the terror and power, there was something that looked almost restrained. A constant battle between instinct and choice. "You smell fear, don't you?" he said softly. "That's how you find us." The creature's eyes flickered. Then it lowered its head almost like a nod. Aaron exhaled slowly. "But I'm guessing it's not fear you're looking for." The Velkar's gaze lingered on him. Then, with deliberate care, it tapped one claw against its chest plate. Once, twice, then against his chest. Understanding clicked. "Trust," Aaron whispered. The creature straightened, a low rumble rolling from its throat. "Not threat. A response." Aaron turned toward the glass. "You see that? It's not hostile. It's trying to communicate." But Halvern wasn't listening. "Guards, prepare tranquilizers. If it becomes agitated." The door hissed open behind Aaron. The metallic scent of adrenaline flooded the air. The Velkar's head snapped toward the newcomers. Its pupils flared wide. The soldiers froze. "Stop," Aaron barked. "Don't move." Too late. One of them raised a rifle. The Velkar surged forward, claws blurring. Aaron threw himself in front of it. The world exploded in sound. The lights dimmed. He hit the floor hard, ears ringing. When he looked up, the rifle was in two pieces, the guard sprawled unconscious against the wall, but Aaron was untouched. The creature loomed over him, breathing fast. He could feel heat radiating off its skin. Its claws hovered inches from his chest, trembling. "Hey," Aaron said quietly. "It's all right." He met its eyes. The rage faded, leaving confusion. Regret even. Behind the glass, alarms blared, red light flashing through the room. Halvern's voice was frantic now. "Containment breach imminent. Get out of there, Sergeant." Aaron didn't move. He kept his voice steady. "Look at me, Karin." The name came out of nowhere, soft, instinctive. The creature froze as if hearing its own reflection. "Karin," Aaron repeated. "That's you." The Velkar leaned closer, inhaled once more and then backed away. The hum of the lights returned to normal. The alarms dulled to silence. Aaron stood, heart hammering but breath even. Through the glass, Halvern stared, speechless. "You named it?" Aaron's voice was calm. "No. It told me what it already was." Karin turned away, settling into the shadows of its cell, its breathing slow and measured. For the first time it didn't look like a monster. It looked contained by choice. Aaron lingered a moment longer, hand resting on the glass. "You saved me again," he said softly. "Let's hope they don't make me regret it." He turned and walked out of the containment chamber, leaving the hum of alien silence behind. As the doors sealed, he could still feel it, the faint vibration through the floor, the slow rhythm of Karin's breath syncing with his own. Whatever this was, it wasn't over. And somewhere deep down he hoped it never would be. The alarm began as a low vibration underfoot, barely noticeable at first, like the pulse of a distant storm. Then the wall shuddered. Red lights flashed through the facility, bathing everything in a warning glow. Sergeant Aaron Vale knew that tone, defensive perimeter breach. Something had come for Karin. He was halfway to the observation deck before the lockdown sirens hit full pitch. Technicians scrambled past him, shouting over each other, their fear spiking sharp and acrid in the air. Karin would smell it. And fear, Aaron knew, was invitation. "Report," he barked. Dr. Halvern appeared in the corridor, face pale, datapad shaking in his hand. Multiple life forms inbound. Non-human heat signatures matching Velkar physiology. "We're under attack." Aaron stopped cold. "You're saying more of them?" Halvern nodded. "They're coming for it. For Karin." The corridor trembled again as a deep roar echoed through the reinforced hull, followed by the unmistakable shriek of tearing metal. Aaron shoved past the panicking researchers toward the containment chamber. Karin was no longer crouched in the corner. The creature stood upright, shoulders heaving, every muscle taut. It had sensed the others before the sensors did. Through the observation glass, its eyes locked onto Aaron the moment he entered. "I know," Aaron said, voice steady. "They're here." The intercom crackled as Halvern's voice came through. "Sergeant, we can't let them take it. If the rogue Velkar retrieve this specimen, we lose the only leverage we have." Aaron's jaw tightened. "You mean you'll kill it before they do?" The lights flickered. A thunderous crash split the ceiling, dust raining down. The security feed flashed static. The first of the invading Velkar had breached the upper floors. Karin snarled, pacing in the glass cage. Its claws scraped deep lines into the floor. Aaron slammed his palm on the intercom. "Open the door." Halvern's voice rose. Are you insane? If you let it out, we're all dead. They're here for it, not you. Keep it caged and everyone dies. Open the door. Silence. Then the locks disengaged with a hiss. Karen burst out like a release storm. The guards on the deck raised rifles, but Aaron shouted them down. Hold fire. Stand down. The air itself vibrated with the creature's growl. It looked at Aaron, scenting the fear bleeding from every soldier in the room, then turned toward the direction of the breach. Karen, Aaron said, stepping into its path. If you go out there, they'll kill you. The Velkar's gaze dropped to his face, unblinking. It exhaled a low rumble that made the lights flicker. Then take me with you. Before Halvern could protest, another impact rocked the floor. The corridor beyond the observation deck erupted in flame. 3 shapes emerged from the smoke, Velkar but not like Karen. Their hides gleamed with ritual scars, eyes burning blue instead of gold. They moved with practiced unity, heads tilting in perfect rhythm as they advanced. Karen froze. The air thickened with an emotion Aaron didn't need alien senses to feel. Recognition followed by something deeper. Grief. One of the new Velkar hissed a guttural sound, clicking like shattered glass. Karen answered with a roar that cracked the lights overhead. The two forces collided. Claws met metal, armor split, blood hissed against plasma heat. Aaron dove aside as Karen slammed into its kin, strength and fury turning the containment hall into a storm of motion. He fired his rifle, keeping the others from circling behind it. The shots barely slowed them. One lunged for him, jaws snapping, and Karen intercepted mid-leap, crushing its skull with a single blow. Aaron rolled to his feet, smoke filling his lungs. You still with me? Karen's head turned sharply, a low hum vibrating its chest. A sound Aaron had learned meant acknowledgement. Good. Let's finish this. The last of the rogue predators hesitated, studying Karen, then backed away. It released a series of clicks, deeper this time. Karen responded with a growl that shook the walls. The alien language carried emotion more than meaning, anger, loss, defiance. Aaron understood enough. They're not just rescuing you, he said quietly. They think you betrayed them. Karen stepped over the fallen, chest rising and falling. The surviving Velkar let out one final hiss and darted back through the smoking breach, vanishing into the storm outside. The silence that followed was unbearable. Halvern's voice broke it. Sergeant Vale. What happened? Aaron looked around at the ruined deck. The walls were shredded, the guards gone. Karen stood in the center, motionless, breathing hard. The creature's amber eyes met his again, and for the first time, Aaron saw something unmistakably human behind them, pain. They were its pack, Aaron said. Or what's left of it. Halvern's voice faltered. Then why did it protect us? Aaron didn't answer. He stepped closer to Karen, feeling the heat rolling off its body. Blood, thick, black and steaming, dripped from the creature's claws. You could have gone with them, he said softly. Why didn't you? Karen's breathing slowed. It lifted its gaze, nostrils flaring as if scenting him again. The hum that followed wasn't a growl this time, it was low, almost mournful. It pressed one claw to its chest, then to his armor. Loyalty. Choice. Aaron's throat tightened. You chose us. The facility lights flickered again. From outside, thunder rolled, deep and distant. Command's voice crackled through the comms, cold and clipped. Sergeant Vale, confirm containment. Status report. He glanced toward the broken glass, the bodies, the smoke still drifting from the breach. There was no containment anymore. Only survival. Specimen 13 remains active, he said, voice level. Cooperative. Requesting immediate extraction. Negative, Command replied. Protocol Zeta applies. Terminate all Velkar on site. No exceptions. Aaron looked at Karen, then at the ceiling cameras still blinking red. You'll have to send someone else. He shut off the comm channel. Karen tilted its head, studying him. The glow in its eyes softened, faint light reflecting against the torn walls. They won't stop, Aaron said. Not until you're dead. Or I am. Karen made a low sound in its chest, almost like speech. A vibration rippled through the air around them, carrying meaning Aaron felt rather than heard. Then we run. For a long moment, Aaron didn't speak. Then he nodded. Yeah. We run. He turned toward the emergency hatch leading to the lower tunnels. The facility trembled as more explosions echoed above them. Karen followed, silent, steps heavy but controlled. At the end of the corridor, Aaron paused, looking back at the containment deck. The red warning lights still pulsed, casting the shattered chamber in a heartbeat rhythm. A place built to control fear had become the birthplace of trust. "Guess the council won't like this report," he said under his breath. Karen emitted a sound that almost resembled laughter, low, strange but real. They vanished into the smoke together, the last of the alarms fading behind them. Outside, the jungle awaited, breathing slow and deep like a living thing reclaiming its ground. The war hadn't ended. It had just found new sides. The jungle of Kalar 9 was different at night. It didn't sleep, it whispered. Bioluminescent spores floated like dust in a dream, catching on the edges of Aaron Vale's armor as he leaned against a broken column, watching the horizon burn. The council facility was gone. Smoke curled up through the trees, silent proof that nothing human or alien had survived behind them. Karen crouched nearby, half hidden in the gloom, its body still scarred from the battle. The creature's breath was uneven, a slow rhythm laced with exhaustion. It had fought until its armor plates cracked, yet still it walked beside him. The predator that could smell fear now smelled only ash and pain. Aaron pressed a hand to his earpiece. Static. No signal. No command. No one left to answer. He exhaled, his breath fogging in the cold air. "We need shelter. You can track, right?" Karen's eyes glowed faintly in the dark. It tilted its head, then rose silently to its full height and began walking. Aaron followed. Neither spoke. Words weren't their language anymore. They found refuge in a collapsed transport half buried in the mud. Aaron scavenged what little he could: rations, a medkit, a functioning power cell. He tore strips from his undershirt to wrap Karen's wounds. The Velcar didn't flinch when the fabric touched raw flesh. It simply watched him, eyes half-lidded, the faint tremor of its breathing the only sign of fatigue. "Doesn't hurt?" Aaron asked quietly. Karen made a low, vibrating sound, something between a growl and amusement. "I'll take that as a yes." Aaron leaned back, letting the silence settle. His body ached, but it was the stillness that unnerved him most. Without orders or enemies, he didn't know what he was anymore. A soldier without a war, standing beside a monster that should have killed him twice. He looked up at the alien stars. "You ever wonder why you didn't?" Karen turned its head. "You had every reason," Aaron said. "Your pack's dead. My people locked you up, tried to break you, used you like a weapon. And still you saved me." The creature made no sound, but its gaze held him steady. Then it reached out one clawed hand, slow and deliberate, pressing a talon to its own chest before touching his again. That gesture, again and again, simple and unspoken. "Trust." Aaron nodded. "Yeah, I get it." Hours passed. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then heavy, drumming against the metal wreck. Aaron tried to sleep but couldn't. His mind replayed every command he'd ever followed, every report filed, every justification made in the name of control. The council had called the Velcar a threat, a species too dangerous to coexist. But Karen wasn't a monster, it was a survivor. A sudden sound broke through the rain. A faint, mechanical hum. Drones. Aaron's hand went instinctively to his weapon. He crawled to the opening, peering through the sheets of water. A trio of council scout drones glided overhead, scanning the terrain with cold precision. The red tracking beams swept across the jungle floor, moving closer. Karen stood, muscles tightening, growl low in its throat. "They'll find us if we stay," Aaron whispered. "We move." The creature nodded once and they slipped back into the forest, moving under cover of the storm. The path was treacherous, every step sinking into wet soil, every flash of lightning revealing how exposed they were. Aaron's lungs burned, his armor heavy with mud. Karen moved beside him in silence, occasionally pausing to scent the air, guiding him through unseen dangers. They reached a ridge overlooking the valley, a graveyard of old council machinery swallowed by roots and vines. Massive transport ships lay broken in half, their hulls consumed by alien growth. Karen stopped suddenly, nostrils flaring. Aaron followed its gaze. Through the mist below, faint movement, a convoy of council walkers flanked by soldiers in exo-armor. He recognized the insignia. Special Operations. His own division. They were tracking him. "They'll shoot on sight," he murmured. Karen crouched, low growl rumbling. The predator's instinct was to fight, but Aaron shook his head. "No. Not yet." He watched the convoy pass beneath them. Their searchlights cut through the rain, painting the jungle in sharp flashes. He could hear the comm chatter faintly through their comms channel, his name spoken like a curse. Target designated hostile. Vale defected. Terminate both subjects. Defected. The word hit harder than he expected. He had fought for their order, believed in their mission. And now he was an enemy. When the last walker disappeared into the fog, he sank to one knee, hands trembling. They won't stop, Karen. The council doesn't leave loose ends. Karen's reply came as a low hum, resonant and steady. It pointed toward the horizon, where the jungle opened into a scarred wasteland of glass and ash. The battlefield, Aaron said. Where they made you. Karen turned its gaze to him, and in that moment Aaron understood. The Velkar wasn't leading them to escape. It was leading them home, to end something left unfinished. They traveled through the night, guided by memory and instinct. The air grew colder, thinner, the soil harder underfoot. Broken weapons jutted from the ground like bones. The remains of ancient council towers loomed in the mist, hollow monuments to conquest. As dawn broke, the horizon split into gold and shadow. In the center of the wasteland stood a structure unlike the others, half temple, half fortress, alive with faint, pulsing light. Karen stopped at the edge of the clearing, staring at it. This is where it began, Aaron said quietly. Where they created your kind. Karen's throat emitted a soft, tremulous sound, something that might have been grief. The ground trembled beneath them. Aaron's instincts flared. He reached for his rifle just as a deep vibration rolled through the air, followed by a roar so vast it seemed to shake the sky. Karen's eyes widened. It took a step back, tension rippling through its frame. What is it? Aaron asked, but the answer came before the question finished. From the far side of the structure, a shadow rose, enormous, luminous, alive. It moved with purpose, each step cracking the earth beneath it. The air filled with the scent of ozone and decay. Karen's voice was barely a whisper, the word fractured but clear. Queen. Aaron stared up at the colossal form, realization dawning. This wasn't just another predator. This was the origin, the apex of the Velkar species, the one they all served. And she was coming for them. Karen stepped in front of him, claws unsheathed, body coiled like a drawn bow. Aaron raised his weapon, though he knew it would be useless. The queen's eyes burned like molten suns as she halted at the edge of the ruins. The air between them pulsed with energy, the scent of ancient fury thick and suffocating. Aaron felt it, the same instinct that had once frozen every soldier on Kalar 9. The primal knowledge of being prey. Karen didn't move. The queen lowered her head, her voice rolling through the air like thunder, a series of clicks and growls that made the ground tremble. Karen answered, defiant and unyielding. Aaron couldn't understand the words, but the meaning was unmistakable, a challenge and a demand. The queen's gaze shifted toward him, and in that instant, Aaron knew what she wanted. She wanted Karen to kill him. Karen turned slowly, eyes locking with his. There was no rage there, no hesitation, only the unbearable weight of choice. Aaron didn't raise his weapon. He met Karen's gaze and whispered, whatever happens next, I'm not afraid. The queen's roar split the sky, and the world erupted into motion. The world dissolved into chaos. The queen's roar rolled through the wasteland, shattering the air into vibrating shards of sound. The ground split, molten veins glowing beneath the ash. Karen leapt forward, intercepting a strike that could have leveled a starship, its claws meeting the queen's with a metallic shriek that echoed across the valley. Sparks rained down, each one a flash of fury. Aaron stumbled back, shielding his face from the heat. His rifle was useless against something that seemed carved from the bones of the planet itself. But he couldn't stand and watch. Not now. Not after everything. He scanned the ruins, searching for something, anything, that could tilt the impossible. Karen was losing ground. The queen moved with terrifying precision, every motion elegant, inevitable. She was larger by half, each blow hammering through Karen's defenses, each step shaking the world. Still, Karen didn't yield. It wasn't fighting to win, it was fighting to protect. Aaron's gaze locked on the pulsing structure at the queen's back. The bioluminescent veins in its walls beat in sync with her movements. It wasn't a temple, it was a control node, a relic of the council's experiments. Power flowed through it, feeding her. He sprinted toward it, mud flying under his boots. The queen's head snapped toward him, her roar cracking the air. A massive clawed limb swung his way, but Karen intercepted it, slamming into her with all its weight. The impact threw both creatures off balance, giving Aaron the moment he needed. He reached the node and slammed his palm onto the control panel. It flickered alive, symbols and Velkar script twisting and glowing beneath his fingers. He couldn't read them, but his mind filled in the pattern. It was muscle memory from countless missions decoding enemy tech. He rerouted the energy circuits, forcing an overload. The queen turned, sensing the shift. Energy rippled through her hide, her movements faltering for the first time. Karen took the opening, lunging upward and driving its claws deep into her throat. The queen roared, a sound like breaking stone, and hurled Karin aside. The smaller predator hit the ground hard, sliding across the dirt. Aaron felt the panel heating under his hand, the power surging to critical. He tore free the core conduit, aiming his rifle at it. "Come on," he hissed through gritted teeth. "Just once, work for me." He fired. The explosion was blinding. A wave of blue light expanded outward, turning the air liquid with heat and static. The queen shrieked as the feedback tore through her neural lattice. Her luminous body convulsed, light leaking from the cracks in her armor. She swung blindly, slamming her massive hand down where Aaron had been a heartbeat before. He hit the ground rolling, the shockwave flinging him clear. Karin rose again, limping but alive. The glow of the queen's core was dimming, her movements faltering. Karin's breathing deepened into a low, steady growl, a sound not of rage but resolve. It limped forward, each step measured. Aaron called out, "Karin, stop. The node's collapsing, she'll go with it." Karin turned its head, just enough for Aaron to see the flicker of calm acceptance in its gaze. Then it leapt. The impact shook the air. Karin drove both claws into the queen's chest as the collapsing energy core ignited behind them. There was no scream this time, no sound at all, just a blinding surge of light that consumed everything in a single perfect instant. When the shockwave faded, silence fell. Aaron lay on the scorched earth, ears ringing, vision blurred. Smoke drifted in slow curls around him, the scent of ozone thick in the air. He pushed himself up, every muscle screaming. The queen was gone, her massive form reduced to shards of blackened crystal. In the crater's center, Karin lay still. Aaron stumbled toward it, falling to his knees beside the body. The alien's breathing was shallow, faint. Its chest rose and fell like the dying heartbeat of a planet. Aaron's throat tightened. "You did it," he whispered. "You ended her." Karin's eyes flickered open. It reached out, claws trembling, and touched Aaron's chest, one final, familiar gesture. "Trust." Then its arm fell limp. For a moment the universe seemed to stop breathing. Aaron bowed his head, pressing his forehead against the creature's. "You weren't the monster," he said softly. "We were." The control node behind them crackled again. Faint lights flickered in the ruins, data pulses, fragments of the queen's mind collapsing into static. Aaron rose unsteadily, watching as the blue glow faded into darkness. He turned toward the horizon. The council would come. They always did. They'd send ships to erase what remained, to rewrite the story, to call this another containment success. But he wouldn't let them. He picked up Karin's gauntlet from the dirt, a massive piece of bioarmor, still warm to the touch, and strapped it to his arm. The organic surface melded with his armor, pulsing faintly as if recognizing him. For the first time in his life, Aaron didn't feel like prey. He turned toward the rising sun. The jungle beyond the wasteland shimmered with morning mist. The predators would come again. New ones always did. But the Velkar were no longer just beasts. They had a name now and a legacy. And he would carry it. As he walked into the light, the faint hum of the gauntlet echoed a heartbeat beside his own, steady, defiant, alive. Somewhere in that rhythm he swore he could still smell it. The faint, wild scent that had terrified the universe. The scent of trust. The scent of a human. And for the first time the predator's legacy belonged not to fear, but to him.